what's up?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program.
The Airtime Podcast is presented by Van Shoes since 1966. 66!
There's nothing fake about it. Have something to believe in and be yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Sebbe de Buck is on the podcast today, all the way from Belgium. Super Park, the Olympics, X Games, Dew Tour, Peace Park. He goes to all of those and gets standout rider every time he goes because he's amongst the best jumpers there is. Not necessarily winning any of those contests, but who cares because he's making snowboarding look awesome. And that is a lot more important than winning. He's got absolutely incredible pop style trick selection. It's who you want to be biting if you're in the jump game. He's also a good jibber too, pipe rider, all that stuff. But he really excels on them jumps, and we're excited for him to lace a gold, take it home, look at it, be hyped, because it's, well overdue, and then go and do what he was born to do. And that is, my friends, film video parts that will inspire all of us. He just got the Ender and Betty Ford shout-outs to Kevin Backstrom for whipping up that movie, and also had an amazing part in DC's last movie, Genre. You are the average of your 5 best friends, and his 5 best friends are all amazing at jumping. Thanks for coming on the show, and now a word from our sponsor, Vans. Big shout-outs to them for supporting the show. The boots I'm going to talk about today are the Infuse. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking to shred, pow, hips, jumps, pipe, speed, and you want ankle support and a customizable fit, look no further. The Infuse has got you covered. They got the Velcro strap at the top, they got the BOA system for the ankles, and they got the laces. Together, those 3 key features can dial in a customizable fit like no other. The Vans Infuse boot. Check it out today at any fine snowboard shop or vans.com or vans.ca. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We have probably one of the most stylish jumpers out, without a doubt. How he does it with all that length, we're not sure. All the way from the Chocolate Factory, Belgium, we got Sebbe de Buck on the show. How you doing, boss?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Dude, thanks for asking. A lot of people reiterate that, and I'm not doing so good, man. I had a very small bottle of wine with my girlfriend last night, and I got super hungover. And I don't I had like a glass and a half, dude. I don't know if I'm just getting soft or if I'm getting old or if it's the sulfates in the wine, but that bottle of wine is never coming back in this house ever again.
Oh, man. Even hearing that, I'm jealous. I've been off the booze for 2 years now.
Dude, good call.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like I had pancreatitis a couple times, so I had to cancel out the booze and other factors that could cause that coming up again.
What is that for? I don't really know. I have a small understanding, but I'm not going to sit here on a snowboard podcast and act like I'm a doctor.
So how I kind of understand it is pancreatitis is when your pancreas inflames, and it hurts really, really bad. It starts burning from the inside, and there's nothing really you can do. So that's the shitty part about it. You just gotta go to the hospital. They keep an eye on you because there's some sort, if it goes one direction, it could be deadly, but in most cases it isn't. But that's why you got to go to the hospital anyway, and they'll check up on you for 3 days. No food, no drinks, no water, nothing, just some ice cubes to keep your mouth kind of.
You're joking. 3 days, no food, no water. That's like you're in a survival camp.
Well, and bunch of painkillers.
Dude.
Yeah. I remember the very first time it happened. We just got off Summer X Games. Went to California with Zach and Sage to kind of, live the Cali life for a little bit before we would go out to Sage's I don't know, birthday, I think it was in Mexico. But after like a day of chilling, the next morning I woke up and it started burning up. And from like being all good at breakfast until like a couple hours later, emergency, like they
Oh
dropped me
my
off, like
God.
couldn't see in front of, like couldn't, black spots in front of me, hands were tingling, like the worst pain I've ever had. And we didn't know what was going on because a couple hours ago it was still like all good. Um, but yeah, it turned out to be pancreatitis, and it's very painful. And but I'm it afterwards they found out in like genetic blood tests, because it kept coming back even without drinking booze. um they found out it's like a genetic mutation or something that's in my genes that uh makes it easier for me to have
Yeah, get
pancreatitis.
triggered.
Yeah, to get triggered, exactly.
So when you did that test, did they like do, because I feel like right now a lot of people are going into the hospital and they're finding out what they're deficient of. Like, do you take any, like, do you have to take more vitamin A or B12, or is there something that you can do to prevent it? Or
No, not really. That's the shitty part about it. They don't really have like a drug or something that makes it all go away. Then, yeah, you just kind of, they say, yeah, best case scenario, you don't have it for 5 years, and then you'll have it, and then you don't have it again for 5 years. But you just kind of have to cancel out all like the top main factors that can cause pancreatitis. And that's obviously alcohol, but a massive punch in the stomach or like a good taco on a rail could do the job. Or I don't know, they can't really put their finger on like one thing that can cause it every time. So that kind of makes it scary too, because I never know when it's gonna come up, or like if my immune system is low, or when I'm getting tired, or when I'm back from a trip and just like decompress. Like it's, I don't know, it can happen at all times. So I just gotta kind of keep that in mind, and definitely stay off the booze, and yeah, just live a cleaner lifestyle, I guess.
no, dude, that's dope because it's forced health almost. Not that I'm happy that you have pancreatitis, but and not also to compare apples to oranges, but I get occasionally bad headaches that turn into migraines. And if anybody's ever had a migraine, I wish it upon nobody. They're insane.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
it's the same thing. There's weird things that trigger it that I've had to like selectively like take out of my diet. And for me, like really sugary stuff does that. It like
Okay. Yeah.
alcohol's kind of in the mix, but to me, if I drink like a Coca-Cola and then later on that night I have some cake or something like that, like, and it can just
Yeah.
trigger, it can just spiral. So if you have to remove a bunch of shit from your diet
Yeah.
that's terrible for you anyway, I mean,
Yeah.
dude, you look I mean, you're riding better than ever, and you look great. You're growing a mustache. It's like
Sure.
this shit happened for a reason, dude. You're gonna be outboarding everybody.
Oh man. Well, I'm just lucky I'm still able to board. Well, it's been a while now, but because of COVID reasons. But yeah, I mean, when they were like, oh, you were friends, and you're like, oh, let's not like drink for whatever, sober October or whatever they're calling it. But and then it was super hard, because then you just go meet friends on the weekend, and then everybody's drinking again, so then it's super hard. But now it's actually really easy, because I have to, and I know what's waiting me if I do drink, and it's painful. Then you get stuffed with bunch of crazy drugs. Like the first time, like morphine didn't even help. They were giving me like some gnarly stuff. But
No.
yeah, they they gave me morphine. Half an hour later, I was still like, are you guys gonna give me something? Like, I'm dying over here. And they're like, yeah, like we already gave you morphine. It's like, well, it didn't work. But it makes it easier to not drink. Now I'm so used to it. It's been 2 years already.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is you have to get once you probably have transitioned into this like this new person, you're like
Yeah.
it's just not part of you anymore. So when everyone's drinking, you're not being like, "Oh, I should go back to those times." You're like, "That's just not who I am anymore." And
No,
especially when
yeah,
something like morphine doesn't even help you,
yeah,
you like reflecting on that pain, you're like, "It's not
yeah.
worth it. Fuck that."
No,
Like,
not worth it at all. Like,
yeah, my girlfriend
yeah.
has Crohn's disease, It's an
Oh.
autoimmune disease, and
Mm-hmm.
she when I first started dating her, probably 7 years ago now, she would get like flare ups from eating the wrong foods. And at the beginning, the doctors were like, "Well, you can take this this crazy pharmaceutical drug that allows you to eat everything, but you're probably
Mm-hmm.
just destroying your insides. Or you can do it like holistically, but every once in a while you're going to find something that triggers it and it's going to be super painful." So she's had to like
Yeah.
navigate, similar to what I'm assuming you're doing right now, is that you said there's more than just alcohol that can trigger it, and you're
Yeah.
like navigating this like new path. And she's
Mm-hmm.
7 years in, like you said you're about 2, and now she's finally like, she knows her diet to a T, what she can eat, what she can't eat. And
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, it's scary even just dating somebody with something like that, cuz I mean, seeing somebody in that much pain and there's nothing you can do, and hearing the
Yeah.
doctors say there's nothing you can do, you feel so useless as the significant other.
Yeah. 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 It's so, it sucks. You just gotta find your own way. Luckily, I can still eat whatever I want. Um, Kinda, like I'm not on like a crazy hamburger diet or not on a crazy vegan diet. I'm just kind of with whatever, more leaning towards maybe like more veggies and stuff like that. But that's just personal preference. Um, but yeah, it fucks with you for sure. In the beginning, like not drinking, I was like, holy shit, like what am I gonna do? Like just like it was such a big part of me too, like, or such a big part that I enjoyed about myself. I love going out, I love just drink and party and have the best time ever, like not wasting like a second of my, you know I'm in these years where I'm young and I just want to experience all this stuff. But yeah, it was just kind of life changing. I had to have a good like look back and see what I wanted to do with myself, you know
I think
and
that
start going healthy and send it.
I mean, yeah, at least you had. I mean, I couldn't imagine being a kid right now who's like 17, 18, and there's all these restrictions on what you can and cannot do. Like, we at least, I mean, I've partied with you a handful of times. Unreal partier for sure. Definitely had some good times.
Yeah, true.
But like that doesn't need to be the say all be all. And it's kind of fun to reflect on that and be like, you know what,
Yeah,
I had those good times. Like you said, you have a girlfriend now and stuff. But I would be, it's devastating to me knowing that kids right now aren't sharing those same experiences, because I mean, I'm not sitting here advocating that booze is the best thing in the world, but it they're some of the best times I've ever had with my boys and
yeah,
with my girlfriends is like, you're outside of a bonfire at the stars and you're kind of drunk and you stir up some good conversation. It's like alcohol allows you a lot of freedom to like be the
yeah,
person you want to be and let loose. And there is some
exactly.
good from alcohol as much as there's a lot of
Oh
negative.
yeah, oh yeah, it definitely. Damn, there's a bunch of stuff I wouldn't have done without drinking, but it's also like a good thing because you get so many more life experiences. You do dumb shit, you learn from it, whatever. You go on, you have funny stories to tell the next day about your friends doing whatever. I mean, it's super fun. I would still do it if I didn't have what I have right now, but it just, yeah, different look at it.
Everybody's wondering now because, like you said, you wouldn't do certain things if you weren't drunk. That jump that was the really skinny jump that was made out of metal. I think it was an Audi jump. Were you
Yeah.
drunk? Were you drunk when you did that, or was that just you being? That thing looks like the scariest shit in the world. You must have been uh,
Uh,
under a few tins or something.
no, maybe a couple, but I wasn't drunk actually. I think I came in like a day late, and it was actually the first thing I hit before everything else.
That thing is
Because
insane. Like,
yeah, I don't know, because those guys, the ones who build it, like Schneestern and FTech Park, I think, um, those guys they build perfect jumps. Like there's not gonna be a bump or an end kick at the end of the takeoff. The landing is gonna be perfectly matched up. So I kind of have like trust in those guys that it's gonna be good. And when I got to the top that day, I saw that someone's already hit it because I saw like a skier track from the top, and they said, yeah, he like cleared it straight from here from the top. And I was like, well, okay, like is it good to go? And I was like, yeah, you're good to go. And I was like, dropped my backpack and did it like right away because I didn't want to like go back to it, like
Did
hit
you
all the
straight
other
air at first?
jumps.
Or did you go
Uh,
like back three or something like that? I feel like
I might
straight airing that thing would
I
be
might have back
terrifying.
three that I might have done a back three actually, yeah.
Nice.
Mhm. But yeah, the landing's super long. Like I knew I wasn't gonna overshoot or like come up short. So I just wanted to get that out of the way instead of like hitting something and then maybe get sketched out and then be like three times as scared to go hit that skinny jump. And that was like the biggest thing. So why all the footage of like all the footage of people hitting the jump right next to it just looks super small because there's like a bigger jump right next to it. So you're hitting the small jump. So
I'm
that was kind of like my way of thinking there.
I mean, you did you is that the event that you like won or something? There was like a winner or like I don't really understand that event. Like, so Audi sponsors it, and then like I see you guys ride it, and everyone's just destroying
Yeah.
these like giant park jumps. But like, what's the premise? Is it a contest? Like, I didn't you win it or something? Was there a winner?
Um, yeah, it's kind of a little bit of everything. Everybody just rides there for a week, and I think from like Monday until like the second last day, um, everybody just shreds and films and tries to send it, progress, or whatever they want to do. And from those days, then the last day, they actually do a main contest, like a classic format contest they where a bunch of people can come watch and enjoy the show and have like full public spectator kind of contest vibe. And then it's pretty much just mellow contest. I don't know, maybe it's like a three trick two best count or something like that. I'm not too I don't think I ever won that contest or maybe a couple years back. But then at the end of the last night they have like a big gala dinner and then they do votes for best style and most or
Standout or
least,
whatever?
yeah, like a standout, like a overall week ruler or something like that. And yeah, I got those two.
I mean, obviously, if you're it's kind of like Super Park. If you went to I went to Super Park a lot when I was a kid, and if you were like the one who was like, if you were guineaing and hitting the big shit off the bat before anybody else,
Yeah,
and like you were doing some big shit, it was like immediately you would be most likely you would be the
yeah,
guy who would get like VIP or the best
yeah,
overall
yeah,
shred because like you're the ones who's hitting shit first. And if I mean, is
yeah.
that the this you back nine that jump, didn't you? The skinny one? That is that the one you
Uh,
posted recently? It's kind of like the
yeah,
dip
like a
back
back
nine nose
rodeo
grind.
nine.
Yeah, back
Yeah,
rodeo nine. That thing was
yeah.
that is you are insanely good at spinning with nose grab. Like a lot of people do it, but like switch back five nose, back five nose. Like even in the latest little video that just came out, Betty Ford. Like, dude,
Hmm.
you got to make a YouTube video on how to spin with nose grabs in 2020 because everybody needs to relook at how they're doing it because the dip and the poke and the flex, like Mickle has them like that. It's like, who did you look up to for this nose grab spinning?
um, I mean, Mikkel is probably a big part of it. Definitely been looking up to him since the beginning. Um, but I don't know. It's just really fun because you can. It feels way nicer. It's a little out of your body. You can pull it like backwards and kind of play with it a little more. And yeah,
I
just
love
feel good.
I
Just feel good
loved
doing that. Yeah.
nose grab spins, and I've never done a
Yeah, me
lot of
too.
them, but they look so good. And it's like there's a lot of contest dudes that do them, but it's hard to make them look like well, no one's really doing them like you. Or I think Tor had that front seven nose grab this year. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
fucking
Off the
sick.
toes.
Yeah, off the toes. That was a sick movie.
Yeah.
You guys crushed it. How did that all come together? It's like Kevin was like, we should make a movie, or you guys just like
Well, Beyond Metal has been making movies and edits
a long time.
for a long time. Like
Yeah.
I don't even know for,
But
and
it was a pretty
damn,
small
big
crew
shout
this
out.
year.
Um, yeah, just Kevin and Tor.
Yeah, it
pretty
was like
much.
just the three of you, and it was a 15-minute movie. You had a full part. I mean, you had the ender in it. Amazing
Yeah,
video part
thank you.
years, dog.
Yeah, big props to Kevin for fully editing that. I don't know. Yeah, every year we try and do something, and in between some contests I do and some DC stuff, I try and film with them as much as possible, like in the in between time. And but yeah, went on a couple trips. Used some DC was stoked to give some shots for it, and yeah, Kevin did the whole thing, and fuck, so good. So much
So
love for
good.
those guys too, for
I
always like having my back and giving me like me the opportunity to even be in their
oh,
freaking
why
videos
why
and
wouldn't
team.
they? You three, like, there's like this new wave of backcountry jumpers, and I feel like it disappeared for a long time, and there was nobody really doing it or getting as good as somebody like, like the Ika and Mikey Rents and UC and the Devon crew. And then there was like kind of like a lull for a while. I mean, people were good, Austin Smith and stuff like that. And then you guys right now, and like Red, and like there's just so many new kids in the backcountry that are riding big jumps and just riding like new school parkway, but in the backcountry. And it's just looking fucked up. I was texting with like Solers and just our whole crew, Rasman and whoever else, Belzil,
Yeah.
and we're like, dude, it's fucked up out there now. Like, people look so good. It's like, everyone, there's like 10 guys, yourself included, and it's just like, fuck, you guys make it look good out there. Every
Wow.
trick is easy. You don't need to do the 1080s, because if you do the switchback five nose, it's just like the best clip. The back five, it was a back five nose you had in Japan there. Like, I watched that like 5 times. I was like, the little dunk and then the little poke. I was like, fuck me, I gotta read. I've been doing yoga every day since I watched those last few movies. I'm like,
Ah
I'm
man,
getting out there.
you don't need to stretch, man. I never really stretch or hit the gym, like except for like the last couple months. But yeah, I usually never hit the gym, never stretch, just ride and I don't know, make it feel good. That's like my biggest motivation for sure.
I mean, Heldor once told me he doesn't like to try and build his bones strong. He's like, I want them to be able to bend. I don't want to drink milk or else they'll snap. It's like,
Yeah. Well, don't get to drink milk anyway, kids.
oh,
Fuck,
I know, right? Milk's
very
fucking weird.
scary.
Yeah, that's a nice jingle. I've never heard that before, but I
I'm pretty
completely
sure.
agree.
I'm pretty sure Sage. Like, I know that one from Sage. It stuck. But
Yeah, that's a good
words of
one.
wisdom.
I mean, it's kind of crazy where
Yeah.
yeah, we don't even need to get into the dairy. I mean, like, if you like it, good, do you. Just, to me, it's like, it doesn't make a lot of
Yeah.
sense. Um, Nobody else is drinking other animals' milk.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
And I mean, like,
Stay
think
away
about
from it.
like the mass amounts of like, autoimmune diseases that have popped up through this generation of like Walmart food and stuff like that. It's like, you got to ask yourself where all this is stemming from. It's
Yeah.
probably because our diets are messed. Myself included. I'm not sitting here and trying to act like I'm the healthiest person in the world.
But yeah, man, fuck. The thing is, like, going back to the whole like Beyond Metals thing, we actually we always like get something together because the year I haven't snowboarded since, let's say, um I think the 12th of March, right
Same.
right
That's
right
weird you
before.
said that.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to do the whole interrupt there, because I'm working on that, you know what I mean? The making sure I give the guests some space to get their thoughts through, but I had to intervene there because that is the exact last day I went
Mm,
snowboarding too. March
yeah,
12th was the last day I went. I looked on my
and that
iPhone.
was the ender from Betty Ford was like literally my last trick of the season. That was the last day straight in, and haven't snowboarded since. Yeah.
You just straight to your ender and then leave.
Yeah, well, pretty much. Well, I kind of, the week before I was with Ika and DC in Avorias trying to get something together, but we kind of skunked out on the snow conditions, and we were kind of a little too late. And right at that point, the whole Corona thing started evolving, and Andy wanted to go home, and then Ika, then the whole DC trip in team got canceled. So it was like kind of panicking everywhere. And then at some point, they were going to go home. I dropped them at the airport, and Kevin and Tor were still in La Plagne for like one more day, or at least they were having like a good week before. But since Arvorias is like a little lower than La Plagne, we just had, yeah, like slushy, wet, pow. And
Was the ender the double Michael Chuck into
yeah,
yeah, that was
yeah,
insanity, dude.
yeah.
And that
And
you almost get snaked on the takeoff too, like, and then you just go for it.
oh man, so yeah, like yeah, uh, I got, so eventually I dropped Ika and Andy at the airport and drove the car back up to La Plagne to meet with those guys, and they were super hyped. We were like, dude, it's been good here. We've been filming. There's still some pow left. The next day, just overnight, everything gone. Like north facing, everything gone. And then we're like through the whole resort, and at some point we come up next to the slope is that like quarter pipe landing thing, and then we started building that. And it was super fun to ride, but I was so tired because you had to hike up this whole
Oh,
slope, and then on the left of a slope, kind of like into an like a slush avalanche thing, and then up there, and then drop in from somewhere in those chunder. So you had to go from so high, and I was so tired. I gave it already a couple tries, and I was like, oh, I gotta just I gotta get this one. Finally, like dropping in, super tired. I see this guy already from pretty far. Like this was happening like all day, by the way. Like people, I don't think they look in front of them when they snowboard. They just look like 6 feet in front of their snowboard or something, because it's like a massive jump right when you come around a corner from on this massive slope where there are a bunch of people watching. Like you couldn't miss it. Um, but still all day people just running over, bailing because there was like a little jump, and then just landing on the in run of the takeoff and blowout. And I was so tired, and I thought I was gonna really just like t-bone him right there, but and I was like, oh, I'm gonna like bail out, I'll just do backside air or something. But then he just crossed me um like a little earlier than I expected, so then I was like, oh man, I really do not want to hike back up. Okay, let's chuck. Huh. And I really like last minute decided to huck it, and worked out.
oh my God,
Paid for the shot.
that's the best story ever. I've been in similar situations as I'm sure lots of people have. You're like, you're going to a jump and you're like, all right, I'm going, back nine or whatever,
Yeah.
back whatever. You're going for your stunt of the day and you've hiked or you're exhausted and then someone
Yeah.
boogies in front of you. Oh my God, it's and you know you don't know if they're kind of like deer, you know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
so unpredictable, those like really beginner skiers and snowboarders. You don't know where the hell they're gonna go.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
fact that you tried to go double chuck where he could have just veered back into your track is just mind blowing.
Yeah. Well, it was like, luckily it was like in front, like right in front. Like it was right at the beginning of the takeoff. So I passed him, and then I was going up the takeoff, and then last minute I was just like, okay, with the last little power I had in in myself, like hucked it. You can kind of tell too in the air. It's kind of like G'd almost like a little G'd out.
I love the ride
Came
away.
around, and it was like the last trick, last day. Flew home the next day, and then the whole Corona biz started. So
And are you guys over Corona in your are you guys open again, or are all the small businesses getting
mm,
absolutely destroyed? And
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Everything is getting destroyed. We went into a second lockdown, kind of lockdown. So yeah, all the restaurants, bars, all the stores are closed, except for convenience stores, supermarkets, um, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm
So
not a I'm not a
yeah.
conspiracy theorist at all, but like I'm curious to know, do you know anybody who's been affected by this? Like, do you know anyone who's passed away from this or anything? I'm just
Uh, I do
curious.
not know anyone personally that passed away. I had some friends that had it and like lost their sense of smell for like a couple of days, but then all good again.
Yeah, I know about,
Yeah,
I would say 10 people now who are at least that I know well enough to call like a friend, or, I have their
yeah,
phone number, who have
yeah,
gotten it over the last 8 months, but nobody's been like, deathly ill or anything like that. And there's a small part of me now that's like seeing a lot of my friends lose their businesses,
hmm,
and like a lot of like I have a friend who's just like lost everything from this. And um
yeah,
I mean, I don't want to take away from, I mean, having a loved one lost at this time would be beyond tragic because of the rules and stuff that are put in place, at least in Canada. If you do have it and stuff like that, and you are in ICU, they wouldn't let you see you. So passing would be beyond tragic. But there's a small part of me that's starting to like question if they're handling this right on a global like kind of level. Because I'm just thinking
yeah,
about like the mental health that people
hmm,
who don't like, you live with a loved one right now. I do. Like, younger people, the suicide rate apparently is climbing from the statistics and stuff like that. And
yeah,
alcoholism
it
and
is.
stuff like that. You got to wonder, in like if you live in a house that has like abuse in any kind of way, like
Hmm.
I'm just like
Yeah,
wondering where the balance is between like mental health and lockdown and like reopening. And I don't know the answer. I'm just kind of stirring conversation.
yeah. I mean, I don't know either. I think there's yeah, like I have no clue really. I think there probably is a better way to handle all this, but that's easy to say like afterwards, you know. I think everybody's in it for the very first time, maybe, or maybe not even, but at least we are. Maybe humanity isn't, but at least we are in it for the first time, and it's kind of scary. But on the other hand, if you look at the numbers, it doesn't really add up compared to any other diseases or death death uh, total or something. But again, like I don't really know much about it, so I just
Yeah,
hope borders open up and we have our freedom
same.
back. Because I do, I do agree though with all the people being locked up in their houses and stuff. There is um, way more like household violence and suicidal
Yeah,
people
totally,
or
dude.
thoughts and stuff like that, which is crazy. Because
Yeah.
I live with one of my friends that is a psychologist, and she's like, it's crazy. I have my hands full every day. We have other phone calls of new people coming in every day, and I think like the aftermath of this all is might be even worse. You know, who
Yeah,
knows?
that's where I'm starting to go with this, is a little bit of like questioning. Um, I think it's like it just there's a point where I posted the other day, just it's starting to make me question, because they have, Walmart's open, they have fast food open, they have every essential service that's, backed by the biggest corporations in the world. But the mom and pop, like
Mhm.
our local corner store here, is closed. Like the
Yeah,
smallest stores that still sell groceries and essential services are closed, but you have to go to Walmart. And in that
yeah,
Walmart line, you can go and eat McDonald's and, smoke your vape pen, which way more people are dying from cigarettes and obesity. And they're not saying anything about like cutting back on that. And I don't know. So there's a level of
yeah.
me being like, I feel like there's a lot more issues than just COVID. And like you said,
Hmm.
I don't know, nor am I a professional, nor am I a scientist who's looking at this under a microscope and being like, no, no, we're doing everything we should be doing. But it's
Yeah,
making me question a lot of things when the biggest corporations are making billions in like Amazon stock. Every big company is going up and up in value. And then the smallest companies in the world are losing everything.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just kind of scary. It just bummed
It
me out when
is.
I heard my friend's business closed, and I was just like, I was
Yeah.
just so bummed for him and his family. I was just like, oh, that must be hard.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going through that, and it sucks. I think in that way, there's definitely a better way to handle all those things, so everybody can kind of stay flatlined or something, or
Yeah,
I don't know.
totally.
Um, but yeah, I don't. I just hope borders open up again.
I
Hope I can
know.
come to Canada. Hope I
I,
can actually come ride my sled because it's pretty much just been standing in Mark's garage for 2 years. Oh man.
It's in Soller's garage or McMorris's garage.
Um, I don't. I think McMorris's garage, because Craig was super nice to bring it to the garage for me and flush it out. Because yeah, I was supposed to go like after La Plagne when I flew home. I was supposed to fly to Whistler on Monday, but that was exactly like when everything shut down. So yeah, it's just been standing there in the garage, hoping for now the
uh,
borders are not even open. So damn, yeah.
Craig
Hopefully
is
this winter.
Craig is such a G. He this
Yes.
summer, I bought a unit in Squamish with my buddy Matt Belzil, and we were
Hmm.
doing the renovations on it for about 3 months um,
Sick.
together, and which was awesome. It was a really good time, and I liked being on the tools more than I thought I was gonna like. I was like, well, I kind of like working with wood and stuff like that. Like if we had to go back to that kind of lifestyle, if the snowboarding thing
Yeah.
wrapped up, I was like, I am happy to be an apprentice carpenter. But
Word.
um, but
For sure.
no, I forgot where I was going with that though. What were you just saying again? Before that, you
Um,
said, "Oh no, Craig." I was going. So
Craig.
my one day
Yeah,
off
yeah.
this summer with Matt from our big thing. Craig was like, "Oh, dude, I have sea-doos. Like, you can just take them." And I was like, "What? What do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, I have two sea-doos like at Mark's place. Like, you and Matt can just take them." So we just took his dues to Anderson Lake, and my one day off, like the best day of the summer. It was so much fun. And it was all because
Oh,
Craig was just like, yeah, just take my dues and enjoy them. It was so similar to
that's
you, just
sick.
like, oh yeah, I'll take your sled and flush it for you and store it here.
Oh man, he's the
What a-
man there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what a nice guy. I was like so
Always looking
pumped.
out for everybody, always making sure everybody's fine. He's like a great host.
Yeah, he's definitely an all-time host.
Yeah.
Mark too. I went over there. I was supposed to move in with McMorris for a little bit, but there's no windows in his suite. My girlfriend really likes the light. You know, she needs her natural light.
Yeah.
So we didn't end up moving in, but nonetheless, he made us a few tequila sodas, and he was very
Mm.
generous with his tequila.
Always is. Always is. Oh man, I miss that.
No, you don't, dude.
A
You're
little
gonna live
bit.
a little bit. No, sorry. Was that like a little jab? Get
No,
you-
no, no, not at all. Not at all, man. Fuck. I mean, you should enjoy every second of it.
Speaking of McMorris and stuff like that, so Mark now has kind of taken the place of Sean White being like, the best, contest kind of rider. What do you think of the contest scene right now, and who are some of your favorite guys to watch out there?
Um, what do I think of the contest scene right
Yeah,
now?
dude, like what
Well,
contest, fist, like let's get into it.
well, like there are only two contests left that really matter, in my opinion, and that's U.S. Open and X Games. I would say all the other ones are just got bought by FIS, so they're all FIS qualifiers, and it's not a bad thing, really, because who cares who owns it? Really, it's just another snowboard contest, but it's not really another snowboard contest. You gotta pay to enter. You gotta go with teams. There are captain meetings, no riders meetings. But on the other hand, that's not all like a bad thing, because at the end of the day, you don't really want to go to a riders meeting. You want to send your guy to to the meeting. So that's actually all like fine. But the whole vibe behind it and contest, it's a lot of people now coming up are all training the airbags, and they're not putting in their time to learn their tricks. They're putting in their time on the bag to learn triples, but they're not really like putting in their time to learn their tricks step by step. And I think that's way more important in the long run, or even in the short run too. But because if you all only learn your triples in the bag, they look like shit, and it doesn't look like there's any style in it, and everybody does it, and it all looks the same. So now if you go to a contest, it's everybody's gonna do a back triple, or now maybe it's already back 16s and everything. Like it's not as it's not as loose as it used to be, I guess. But
Well, yeah,
I don't
you
know.
lose the flavor. It's 100%.
Yeah,
Like I always told, because I coached at Camp Champions for 8 or 9 years or whatever it was, maybe 7 or so, a long time it felt like,
yeah,
anyways. And my whole thing was, you'd always have the one kid who was like, I want to get into like the X Games, or I want to go to whatever, the Canadian Open
yeah,
or the US Open or whatever. I want to win these contests. And you'd be like, okay, like what tricks can you do? You'd be like, okay, I can cab 9 and I have
yeah,
the front 270 off. And you're like, whoa, okay, cool. You have some
yeah,
contest tricks. And then you see him do a half cab or a cab 3, and you're like, whoa, bud. I get that you can huck a cab 9 around and
Yeah,
land it. But like we got to go back to the fundamentals. Like start with the switch ollie, then learn the
yeah,
half cab, then the cab 3, and then when you
yeah,
incorporate all those things into a cab 9 when you can do the cab 3 is that's where and it took you so long to, you know, form all those tricks. When you get to a cab 9, it's just like your fundamentals are all so there and your air
yeah.
awareness. So if the jump
Uh-huh.
is different than just a
Yes.
typical contest jump, you can actually ride it. You know, you can be
Yeah.
like somebody like Arthur who can ride any sort of funny little
Mm-hmm.
bump because you've
Yeah.
exactly what you said there, took your time. If you rush it, you know, everybody starts to look the same and exactly what you
Yeah.
said, back triple cork with a mute and there's
Mm-hmm.
no poke or something like that. You can really see who spent their time on the snow and who spent their time on an airbag.
Yeah. It it really just starts turning into ski jumping too, you know. They just go, they drop in, they go straight, they flip backwards and they land. That's pretty much how bigger contests are these days. I mean, you strap in, you go straight, you huck and you land. Like, and that's not really why I like snowboarding. So I'm kind of fading away, definitely faded away from the big airs. Um, because spinning anything over a 1080 is like it's overrated. I feel, in my opinion, it starts getting, it's not as easy on the eyes anymore. It starts getting all chucky, less style, and 12s are still good and an occasional 14, but damn, everything, it's too much. I like to keep it under 1080s or
I'm
1080s.
with you on the 1080. The 1260 kind of works when Mickle was doing them first back in like
Yes.
2007 and stuff like that. I was definitely like, or maybe it was 2010 or whatever. I forget the exact era. But when Mickle had the switchback 12, I was like, okay, that's kind of my
Yeah.
max. And then after then, like I get it, like, and I understand that if you're trying to win those events and that's like if that's your jam, hell yeah,
Yeah.
get good for you.
Oh
But
yeah.
for me filming a video part and what I feel is important to snowboarding, nothing
Mm.
after a 1080 means anything to me. Like a solid front 10, back 10, cab 10, switchback 10 is all I need to see. And I would compare, like, if you do a good front 10 FT in the backcountry, hell yeah. And I get how in a lot of videos that would be the ender, but there's a big movement towards like, well, if you do a big half cab and it's just
Yeah.
as big as the front 10, and you do a front 180, which is be even way harder in the backcountry. If you do like a
Yes.
60-foot front 180, like I would love to see the ender of a video just be a massive switch ollie. like like
Yeah, that would be crazy.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And there's people doing it, like your whole crew, you know, it's not like you guys are all doing switchback 12s. Like you guys did the contest scene, you can do the 14s and stuff, but once it comes out to filming, you guys aren't like,
Yeah.
well, who's going to cab 12 this? You're like, you guys all have really good taste. So you're like, okay, who's going to stale fish this thing? Or who's going to do a method?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's,
Who's
you
gonna do
can,
the front three?
exactly, exactly. Like Tor's front 3, he has off that one like step down where he like
Mm,
maxes out the landing and he does a little dip. Like I
yeah.
was like, fuck, that's all I need to see. Once you
Yeah.
do more than a 360, you're just repeating yourself.
Sometimes less is more, you know. But it doesn't take it away that any of those tricks are crazy and they're hard. Like triples are scary, and that's the way like freaking progression is always gonna go. People are gonna keep on spinning, keep on sending it, but can't forget to put in your time on the style tricks. Otherwise, it's gonna turn into gymnastics or like a ski event where you just need to huck
Were
and
you
no,
terrified
probably don't.
learning those tricks?
Um, I mean, the first one, yes, for sure.
Dude, what was it like? Break it down to me in your head. Like, where were you when you did your first triple, and were you terrified?
I was in Stubai, I think. Stubai Prime Park session, probably something like that with a perfect jump. I don't know. I already had switchback 12s and switchback double 10s. So I don't know. And that's kind of why I'm saying switchback. It's because how I do my back 10s or front side, I don't really cork them like you usually would do for a triple. Like, you know, people go like backside misty to cap underfoot kind of,
Yeah.
right? Um, but my backside is kind of flat on the front foot,
Your
like
switchback 12s are pretty flat too.
yeah. But then I can do the switchback tens, like flip how you would
Yeah, yeah.
do, like, and that one worked for triple, and the other one didn't really. So, and the first one, obviously wanted to send it way too hard, lost my grab, got G'd out with the grab, and somehow like didn't see anything, somehow landed on my ass or something. Like didn't see
Oh,
anything the whole way through. But then once the first one's out of the way, I was like, okay, like just don't go super early on the takeoff, I guess, and try. I think it's really important to like hold your grab for some reason. That's what I keep saying to me. If I try it, I'm like, don't lose the grab, because that does everything. Because if you G yourself too much, you like lose the grab in the air, and then shit goes wrong. But yeah, I don't know. A couple of years ago, switchback triple 14, I think that was my one and only.
so that's the pro tip right there. If you're gonna go for the triple again, is don't let go of the grab. I saw
Do
Darcy
not let
Sharp.
go.
Darcy Sharp the other day posted himself doing a triple, probably like 2 or 3 days ago, and he lets go of the grab right after 10. And he, in his caption, he was like, "Thought I was gonna die because I lost the grab."
I think I might have seen that. He brought it to 16 too, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
But yeah, he gave it a little too much juice, and that's my worst nightmare. But I only like doing them, or like doing them is a big word, but when it's just a big jump, when it's a good big jump and not a tiny sketchy scaffolding jump where you have to huck, which is like big enough to do a 900, but then you have to do a like triple 16 or something for the contest. So I don't like doing that. I just, if there's a good jump, big jump, a lot of air time, then I'll do one maybe. I don't
I
know
mean, you
in
were
life.
kind of like the best contest jumper of your era, especially with style, like, at least up there in the top three. And I don't think that you were ever like the like top three winning all the contest guy. But every time I'd watch an event and you'd be in it, I'd be like, thank God Sebbe is in there. Because even if he
Thanks,
fucked
man.
up, I'd be like, and it's like I wouldn't even say it's me. I'd say every single snowboarder that I know and look up to all says the same thing, like just the best style. And it would be like, thank God you're in that event for snowboarding, because you don't look like the rest of them. Like you have your own shit going on. And it was
Thanks.
sick to see you in those events. And if that's a wrap for Sebbe de Buck in the contest scene, you did snowboarding proud.
I don't know. I'm like on the fence kind of with the contest. And last year I only did two. I only did X Games and US Open, and
Your
I'd do
run was
that for another couple of years.
Your run with Gimbal God last year was fucking wild. You should give it one more go and take home the gold and wrap it up.
I mean, like I've never won anything, so there's still kind of this thing inside of me. I was like, fuck, I've been doing these contests for so long, and I don't know, for some reason I always blow it when I'm in finals, or bail like US Open, bail on the first rail like two times in a row, and fuck, just like getting my own head, I guess. But there's still that part of me that wants to win something, you
Yeah, I
know?
like it. I like, dude, you wouldn't have gone like old like 2015 Sebe. You could see that you were up in the mix in that scene. And for sure, it's like, why would you want to get that good and do the contest scene without wanting to win? There's definitely some sort of level of like, I would, it'd be sick to take home a gold and just peace and then go ride POW in Japan. That'd be
Yeah,
so sick.
yeah, that's that's the
I'm
dream.
rooting for you, dude. I'm
But
down.
on the other hand, it's, in my eyes, it's not worth, like, I'm definitely never hitting an airbag. Um, Never hit an airbag before, never will, but
You've never hit one.
never hit one.
That's so G, dude. Your street cred just went up through the roof. I hit one once and I smacked my head so hard on the thing. I was like, I think I tried like a
uh,
front 10 double and I smacked my head, and I was like, I'm never riding one of these stupid things ever again.
uh, actually, like, never. I actually once, the indoor slope in where Jesse Augustinus always rides, Landgraf Snow World.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like back in the days when I used to still ride there too, from time to time, they used to have like the flat airbags with the takeoff right pushed right against
Yeah,
it,
that was the one
and
I
it's just
hit.
like the like tourist airbag kind of thing. I hit it once and it was like, well, the jump was smaller than the actual snowboard jump that was in the park, and I was like, well, this is dumb, and then never really went back to it. And I'm glad I didn't, because I don't know. I guess fuck those tricks that people need to do to win contests these days. They are gnarly, and you can get hurt for sure. So I get it that you bring it to the airbag, but it's also you're kind of bitch too. Like you're you're a chicken. You're like fuck. You need to. That's why I'm saying like earlier. You need to like put your time in for all those tricks, because if you need the airbag to learn a new trick, you're not ready to learn that trick, because eventually all the tricks you just add another 180 every time and get comfortable with a 1080, get comfortable with a 12, and then you keep going. That's the same way how you do it from 180 till sevens or nines or whatever. So if you do it step by step, then eventually if you do these big tricks, you don't need an airbag, because you have the air awareness, you have all the tricks. Maybe if something goes wrong and you're like in the air all weird, then you're like, oh shit, it kind of feels like a rodeo, and then you're like, you can always like save yourself somehow. So, but yeah, airbags, no way, no way.
Yeah, not for me either. And I think that like your team manager now being Ika, he would be just so disappointed if he saw you sessioning an airbag 24/7. I feel like that's not
Man,
not is Ika your boss these days or what? Because he's the team manager for DC right now, isn't he?
Ika is the team manager, I think, right now. Yeah,
Which
I
is
think it's
come
I,
on.
I think it's official. Yeah,
That's
which is
he
crazy, which is insane. I love it.
I couldn't have picked a better person to be a team manager or a better person to be like dude. He has like to me Ika is one of the most credible snowboarders ever. Like he's OG as shit. Like he was in Happy Hour, you know what I mean? Kingpin, and then all the way to today, never
Yeah,
ever was dated and kept adapting with the times instead of like,
yeah,
in 2010 when there was a big push for like people like Ika to like start riding a little. He was at the forefront of like fucking looking sick. He's always just such a good person for snowboarding to look up to. And
oh yeah,
if he's the team manager for a company like DC, it's only good for all of snowboarding if Ika has some sort of control about like what's going on, because he has such a good grasp for what's important and he
I
has such good
yeah,
taste and style and just everything is that's
yeah,
amazing
couldn't agree
for that
more.
brand.
Ika's the man. Ika's the man. I'm very lucky to have him um, still with DC, and now, yeah, pretty much my boss now. I would say,
um,
but
Back in the day, going sledding, your first time would have been with what? Dika? Sorry, Dika. I mixed Devin and Ika. But you did go sledding with Devin and Ika that Transistor's first season? What was that like to ride with those two goats?
crazy for my first time sledding ever. Um, yeah, we were with a crazy crew. We were like, I think Torstein was Torstein with us. Yeah, so Ika, Devon, Anto, Torstein maybe. But we're all kind of split up and everywhere. But yeah, it's crazy to still see Devon out there. Actually, I'm pretty sure I haven't seen him since, to be honest. Um, yeah, I think he's busy family with the family life for sure, and but learning all the like little insides of riding a sled, being in the backcountry, because as much as I like to think that I know, I don't know like nearly enough to like go out, be comfortable out there by myself. Like the things they told me to like keep in mind are like helpful, and I'm gonna remember those for the rest of my life for sure.
I mean, that's definitely really, really, really important when you're out there
hmm
and you're the new guy who's only like you're the best jumper ever. Obviously, DC is going to want to have you out and bring you out. But there's a level of responsibility when you're bringing somebody like yourself out there to be like, hey, this isn't like put your guard down. You know what I mean? And if you have a
Yeah,
concern or something like that, to speak up and let people know, like, hey, Devin, but like, what about this cornice or something like that? Like, that seems
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
concerning to me. And people like Devin could even miss that. You know what I mean? So when you're the new guy, I feel like it's so important to like think that you have a voice out there, especially when you're riding backcountry. I remember when I first started, I didn't feel like I had a voice, and not because my crew didn't give it to me. It's just because I was just in my helmet and I would just say nothing until we got to the jump. Then I would build it. Kind of like
Yeah,
how I'm sure everybody, like Ika probably feels like that with DC. Mikey probably feels like that with Burton. Like all those
yeah,
Burton kids they have no clue how lucky they are that they have the pioneer Mikey Rents, who knows Whistler better than anybody except for maybe
yeah,
Devin. And they just join the crew, and he's like, you sled up that ridge, you build the jump at this angle, it works perfect, you drop from here.
yeah. Well, that's perfect. That's the dream for like going into backcountry, getting introduced into backcountry. Um, Very lucky to have that opportunity with them, and still learn every day with Ika. Every time I go out with Ika, I listen every time they got something to say. Same with Torstein and everybody, because especially in the beginning, for sure, that first trip going out sledding, I was definitely like in my helmet, just taking everything in as much in as possible, because I'm on this like huge sled that I have no idea how to use. And they're just pretty much just like, yeah, just pin it, never let go of the gas. And that was pretty much the first thing they told me. And I didn't get stuck too many times, so I was pretty happy. But we only really had like four days out sledding. I think the weather came into, but yeah, it's important to know what you're doing out there for sure. Anything can happen at any point, and yeah, you gotta keep on learning.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you couldn't make that a more important point, since we're talking about backcountry and a bunch of snowboarders are listening to this. But to feel like to feel uncomfortable out there at all times, I feel like you kind of always want to have that just in the back of your head. Obviously, when you're riding a jump or you're out there for your lap, you know what I mean? Like, you can turn off, but it's good to be like always thinking. Like when my friends are riding, I'm
Hmm.
always not like, I used to be like, oh, sick, like whoever, is gonna,
Yeah,
Ejack's gonna ride this thing and I'm just gonna like watch or like film. Now I'm like, well, if that pops, like, where should I be maybe? And should I have my
yeah,
backpack?
yeah,
And should I have my shovel ready? And like, how far are we away from like a ridge with a reception and stuff like that? I feel like that stuff's just sitting in the back of my head, especially after that. Did you ever take that course at Baldface, Pat Moore's course, the risk maturity?
oh no, I didn't. I really wanted to try and get in there like last year, but yeah, I don't know, something got mixed up. But I've been meaning to do one forever at Baldface. But
It's too
yeah,
bad COVID's
it's a
like
big
this.
travel. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like a big travel coming from Europe into 5 days. It's like a 5 grand trip for
Oh,
me
wow.
to go there, and then I'm like, okay. And then nobody wanted to go with me at that point. And I was like, I'm sure once I'm there, everybody's there, but I don't know. It didn't work out, but um, definitely meaning to make it out to Baldface at some point.
Dude, Baldface is sick. It's just epic to be up there. Like last year, I mean, it's a lot easier for me because Baldface is literally like a 7 hour drive. So it's
Oh,
like
okay. Oh,
it's like
yeah.
not a big deal for me,
Yeah.
but for you, it's like, well, it's impossible to drive. You have to go over the ocean. So it's
Hmm.
like, yeah, 2 day travel day, and then yeah, 5 grand. But the good thing is you could probably send that receipt to Ika now and be like, come on. But I mean, budgets are
Yeah.
probably getting tightened up now.
Yeah. Budgets are getting tightened up for sure. Maybe not not the time to ask for crazy budget, but keeping it in mind. And every time I go, I try and learn more stuff and be aware. I think that's the most important thing. It's pretty handy if you go out with Ika and stuff like that. It kind of gives you a little bit of security too, if anything like shuts down, and have like a pioneer like that with you in the crew is like, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, Ika
So
just
lucky.
just like Mikey, like spent years
Hmm.
and years out there, and his partner in crime was Devin. It's like Ika,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's like you have the biggest pioneer, literally the
Yeah.
pioneer who like found all of those jumps was
Yeah.
actually, there wasn't somebody like before Devin. Like Devin was going up there first.
Yeah.
And then his partner is Ika, and then you, because of DC, gets to partner with that. It's like the level, you couldn't be any more lucky than
Yeah.
having that guy on your side as not only a friend, a team manager, but also just a guide out there
Yeah.
who, and
Very lucky.
especially Ika, who's I know Ika pretty well, and the way you snowboard is exactly how Ika likes to see people snowboard. Like, and so he wants you to get shit done up there. So he's like, all right, where can I take you to get a clip? He wants the boys to be getting clipped up.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah, he's the man. So backcountry guys, who are the dudes like you've kind of transferred out of the contest phase, although like you said, you might still go for the gold, which we're all hyped to see. But who are the guys you looked up to jumping? I mean, I would love to touch base on the fact that you grew up also like Jesse Augustinus, who was on the show, riding in a snow dome. Then you go to Contest World, which kind of makes sense, but Jesse right now is just finally starting to ride like in the streets a lot. I mean, he has for the last 5 years, but now he's actually like filming in them like a lot, just like you are filming in the backcountry. It's interesting to me that people like you that grew up in a snow dome, even make it anywhere because it's like it's a completely flat, like you don't have like a lot of mountains and stuff like that. So who are some of the guys that kind of inspired you to be on this path that you're on now?
I don't know. Like I skied since I was like 3 years old, and we had that classic once a year week in France with the family. But yeah, soon enough, I just wanted to snowboard because I think it looked cooler. I think I skated at that point. For sure, Rocket Power had a big influence on me as a kid. And yeah, I just wanted to snowboard. And then this one time in summer, when I was like 7 years old in summer, there was an indoor slope right by my house that's actually torn down now. And it's super small, like really small. And actually it's like a rope tow, but the rope tow went out of the fridge to the outside. So it was super sketchy. Like one person once got stuck on the rope tow and got pulled out on the back end of the slope.
Dear
Sketchy
Lord.
stuff. Yeah, sketchy stuff. But yeah, just 1 week, learned how to snowboard there, and I think I loved it so much that I begged my parents to like book me like another week in that summer. So I think I got like 2 weeks in, and then yeah, the yearly trip with the family, and then yeah, just started changing to snowboarding. Left the skis at home at some point, and I think at that point the Belgian Federation started happening at that point, and it's actually kind of cool. Like unlike any other federations, it actually started from snowboarding. There was not really like a ski federation, or if there was, it was a totally separate thing. So it was really this other snowboarder. His name is Tom, and he pretty much made the federation to give guys like Sebbe and his older brother and Christoph Randers, like back in the days. I don't know if you remember that guy. He used to ride for Flo and Billabong, did like front double tens, like
Oh, was he, yeah,
long
like
time ago.
Scotty Longo kind of era, or before then?
Yeah, that era kind of like
Yeah. I remember the name.
Anti-Auti,
Yeah.
what's the other Finnish name? Osterrittola something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that era with the and it was really good. So that guy just set up this federation to give us the chance and get money from the government to help us travel outside of Belgium and start competing World Cups and start going on trips to go hit bigger jumps than the super small like 6 meter indoor jump.
Did you ever? I was
yeah.
gonna. Do you ever hit your head on the ceiling, or
No.
or a hand?
I actually never.
I've always
I think
been
at this point. It's probably I saw the jump how it is like right now, and it's way easier to hit the roof right now than it was. Yeah, they told me if you pop really hard, you could probably hit the roof. But I haven't been in forever because as soon as you start going to the mountains, you're just every time you go back into an indoor, it's just like bumming. Like it's like damn, like this was what I used to ride all the time. It's like so yeah, then just started going to the mountains all the time. Got a car when I was 18 and left before winter to Austria, and came home May maybe.
Well, you can't feel that there's gonna be a lot of like. I mean, you can love snowboarding so much, but if you're riding inside of a building, there's a level of just there's the connection between you and outside in the wilderness is completely
Yeah.
gone. Like, can't imagine
Yeah.
growing up, like, similar scenario, but at least I was outside, but like I had a
Yeah.
really small tow rope and stuff. But like that comparison doesn't even match that feeling of like being out in the mountains anywhere, or
Mm.
like
Oh,
Japan in those trees. Like
yeah.
Japan, I don't know what it is about Japan, but when I'm just in Japan riding in the trees, I'm like, this is snowboarding.
Yeah.
This is everything I feel that snowboarding should be. I'm like riding deep pow with my friends in spaced out trees, and it's
Yeah.
the culture and everything like that is just like, wow. You do not get that from riding inside of a snow dome.
No, not at all. The good thing about snow domes is like it's always sunny, and
And
it's you
the
just put the
weather
lights
is
on.
consistent.
The weather is consistent every time you go. So yeah, it's just so good to actually put your time in, get all your basic tricks. I think I learned everything up until 720s there, and you do so many laps a day. We had uh, either you take one jump and done, or two rails. I think it's like super small, like indoor fun park uh, thing. Um, so yeah, you only have such a small jump, so you learn everything, like all the 180s, all the 360s, as switchback threes and cap threes, and like, so it's really good to just get the base in, learn them with all different grabs and stuff like that. And I think that really helped me go in further and just yeah, put your time in. It's
I'm
most
I'm
important.
curious to know you're how tall are you right now? You're 6'4"?
6'4", so like 194, I think, centimeters.
I got a question for you. What's your board size and what's your stance? Like, do you have like
Um,
a 160? What do you ride for POW?
I for POW I ride a 168. DC makes me, yeah.
A
But
168.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and that one,
I heard
yeah,
Mickle rides a 172. I don't know if
yeah,
that's true. Oh, it is. Wow.
yeah, yeah. I think so. I think he does, right? Like a 170 or something. Yeah. Um, I definitely I feel like I could go bigger, especially for POW. But before DC made me that board, I was just riding one board for everything, and it was like a 162 Space Echo rope, and that's the board I still ride in park or when I still want to ride some jips, kind of, because it's a little more flexible, and the 168 doesn't, like, it goes on rails, but there's no way you're pressing in it, you know. But yeah, and then I wanted to. They finally said it's like, oh yeah, we can make you some boards. What size do you want? And I was like, I don't know, like just this board but bigger. And it's like, all right, let's try. And then we put like 68 on it to see how that goes, and I love it. I actually don't really want to ride the 162 anymore. Every time I go back for like a contest, or if I want to ride like park, I sometimes set up the other board again, but it's always a bummer because the 168 is a gun, and yeah, I
I
love
like
it.
having, I even upgraded. I used to ride, when I first moved to Whistler, I was on a 149. But that was when the small stance or small board, huge stance thing was like in.
Yeah,
And then I went to like a 52 and thought that that was good. And I'm 5'8", just for people's reference here. But
yeah,
now I ride a 56, which is like the board I ride for
yeah.
everything. Just a 55 or a 56 is my everything. But my stance, I feel like in the last 5 years, it went from being like, I don't know, like a 23 inches, and now it's 21 and a half. How wide is yours? Is yours like
Mm,
24?
um, I'm actually not sure how wide my stance is, but I
You
never
don't
measure it.
measure. No
I
way. You're
don't
one of
measure it.
those people. You're like John Jay, dude. John Jay doesn't even, he has no, I asked him what his stance was, and he was like, I don't know. I just kind of like throw it on there, whatever feels good. I'm like, I could not snowboard not knowing the exact
I
specifications.
I I always just put them in the same bolts. I've been riding DC my whole life, so
You're like two in
yeah,
or whatever.
I know from like the preference, I go one in on both bindings for when I ride park. When I ride POW, I go my back foot preference and then my front foot all the way in the the
Nice.
middle bolts. And then I think my stance used to be like 18, 15 when I grew up, but it slowly started going more inside. I almost went to 0 with my back foot once, but didn't really like that. So it's usually on like -3 or -6, depending if it wiggles a little bit or not. And then the front foot is like 12 plus 12, maybe.
And what kind
Maybe
of bindings are
9.
you wearing right now? I feel like because DC never really dove into the bindings. So do you still ride unions or?
Yeah, I write union bindings, right for union. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think it's the team binding, black with a logo on the back.
And you for shredding POW, do you go stiff boot or soft boot?
Same boot for everything. I ride
You just get,
same boot for everything.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm the
same
same
boot,
way.
same bindings for everything. I ride either the Judge DC boot or the Travis Rice. I actually
Uh,
like the Travis Rice boot a lot. That one's
I used to
perfect
ride
for
the Judge
backcountry.
when I rode for DC. I was riding the Judge, and then I feel like that boot is similar to like Vans's Infuse, and so I just
Okay.
swapped and then
Yeah.
went to that. I used to like a really 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 soft boot for POW, and now I like soft ankle, but like good support around like the calf and everything like that. So I
Yeah.
like my ankles to be able to bend, but I need support in other areas. And I feel
Yeah.
like boots have come a long way in the last 20 years. They
Oh
used to
yeah.
just be like these pressure point things. I mean, I rode for Celsius first, and those are like once they broke in, they were fine, but the pressure points and like when Nike first came out and Bobby was sending me those boots, it was just like, oh my God, they were like same thing, pressure points. It's so nice to not have those
Uh-huh.
anymore.
Yeah. I've been very lucky with DC. It's been my first boot I really started riding and worked my way up there a little bit. And so I don't know. I feel with boots, it's so personal for everybody because everybody has a different kind of shape foot, and every brand kind of has a different shape. So yeah, you just kind of gotta find your vibe. Very lucky that DC really works for me, but I really like a stiff boot more than a soft one.
Yeah, I would like to go middle of the row or slightly stiffer because if you get
Yeah,
a
I
stiffer,
agree.
you always can pack out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
worst thing to me is breaking in new boots halfway through the season. Like you're going to Japan and they send you brand new boots. So like I feel like I sound like an asshole here because not everyone gets to experience going to Japan, but just breaking in new boots in general sucks, and nobody likes doing it. I mean,
Yeah,
luckily, if you get the softer pairs, I feel like they feel amazing right out of the package. And if you snowboard just a few times a year, I'd almost say just go to a softer boot, and then
little softer. Yeah,
yeah, and then or if you want one that lasts forever, just go to like a more stiff boot, and you're good for like forever. Especially
yeah. Because
snowmobiling,
once you
breaks.
break them in, they usually stay good way longer.
Do you
The
have,
stiffer ones.
do you have any like pro tips that you do all the time? Do you shave your edges at a certain angle or wax your board a certain way? Or you don't, do you just wing it? I mean,
You
if you're not
know,
measuring your stance, you're not doing shit.
I'm the worst with my board. I barely wax it. I don't know, like I only wax it when I feel like I'm going slow, and as long as I'm still like catching up with everybody, I feel I don't wax. Or if my board gets really dry, but unless if my edges look like look crazy, cut in and edges everywhere, I take care of it. But I usually just set up the board and ride till it's dead.
And where's your favorite place to take a snowboard these days? If you could go one place to ride for the rest of your life and that's just where you needed to shred, where'd you go?
Um, that's a tough one.
It is.
I would actually maybe I would like to say Lux because it's still here in Europe. But if I would actually have one place for the rest of my life, I might have to say Whistler.
Haha, you bet.
Because yeah, then I could actually ride my sled and ride backcountry, ride crazy resort. You have everything there. You have everything, and
Yeah.
so do you in Lux, but you can't ride a sled, and you can't really build big jumps there.
sledding, do you like it, or do you hate that you have to use this tool to get on the backcountry, or are you like jonesing to learn how to sled more?
No, I love it. I love it. It's super fun to cruise around with that thing.
It's so
Yeah,
fun.
I love it. I don't mind at all bringing it out. It is a hassle though. You got to get the truck. You got to get so much shit ready. So much
Yeah.
shit. The first couple days, like I kept forgetting, and I forget my lunch, and I forget my water. There's so much stuff to think about. I got my stuff a little bit more dialed now, but um, yeah, I love it though. It's super fun. You can get anywhere, and those things they go so fast. They have so much power. Yeah, I
It's
love
an
it.
expensive it's an expensive kit to get. And there's not a lot of kids that are willing to work and invest in those tools. And I understand. I mean, like, buying a
Mhm.
truck sled, beacon probe, all the gear,
Yeah,
the cheapest what possible kit, you're looking at like at least 10K. I mean, to get
hmm
something solid that's reliable, upwards of 20, 30. I mean, you could go all the way to 100
oh yeah.
easily. But I mean, when I first moved to Whistler, like Mark Sollers, Rusty, Mikey Pedersen, Kevin Griffin,
hmm
the list goes
Yeah,
on. And all those people, you moved to Whistler, and as soon as you went to Super Park for a few years, you would just buy a truck and a sled, even though you weren't pro and had no money. You would work two
yeah,
jobs in the summer, and you would spend every penny you had on buying a truck and a sled because, I mean, everyone just wanted to ride
yeah,
backcountry,
yeah,
ride POW
yeah.
and stuff. And I don't really see the new kids doing that. I mean, like I would see, which is funny to me because I feel like it's something that if you've never been sledding out in the mountains with a group of your friends, it's kind of like the funnest thing in the entire world. Like it's funny that it
Oh
even
yeah,
exists. Like you're
yeah,
like out there and when the sun's coming up and you're out there with your five best friends and it's like you're on these fresh mountain peaks that just got caked in snow. It's
yeah,
like I
yeah.
am so glad I laid bricks with Russell Dalby to buy that first snowmobile. And wow, it's a good time.
Oh yeah, it's really fun. It was yeah mind blowing for me to be out there for the first time. Um, Crazy in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by mountains and all POW, unridden POW. That's like crazy. Because I usually you go up a resort in Europe and then you hike off a trail or you cross court some slopes and you hike up. So but you always kind of you're close to a resort. You're always easy to get back home most of the time. Um, but yeah, and then being out there in Whistler, it's surreal. Like the view, the surrounding, just with mountains, all by yourself, just with your friends. Yeah, it's unreal. And
it
that's the reason why I always wanted to snowboard. Always, that's what I wanted to do with snowboarding: is go out there and yeah, just be out there in the middle of nowhere, shred the best pile.
I mean, all the way from Belgium, and you're in Whistler, BC, in the middle of the mountains with Ika. You're like, this is and Devin and Anto and whoever else. You know what I mean? It's like it's the most. I think you nailed it there by saying it's surreal. It doesn't even feel real. There's been some of
Yeah,
the most insane sunsets and like morning glow and
yeah,
lights and colors that you can't even express. Like people try and film it on their drones and make it all look all beautiful. Like it doesn't do it any justice. When you're up
no,
there alone and just sledding have you gone to Brandywine, obviously? And then
yeah. I think we went up there most of the time. Yeah,
if you go over this one long glacier crossing and you kind of pass like um, some snowcats that have been abandoned up there because they used to have like a runway. So there's some like metal things that are like old
is that like
snowcats.
past Mother, like all the way over?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. We
Yeah,
we
I think
cruised
so.
out there like one day, trying to find like
Oh,
last bit of.
Mother. I feel like Mother's up Rutherford.
Oh,
So
okay, okay.
yeah, but
I don't know.
Rutherford, yeah, it doesn't matter. Rutherford,
Yeah.
same thing. You have a massive glacier crossing, and it's the
Oh
same
yeah.
as
I might
surreal.
have
But
been
the
there.
but the Brandywine one is like I don't know. Some of the days, like you said there, when it's just fully caked in fresh snow, it's just
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I just want to stop and just be like, I am the luckiest person on
Ever.
earth to be able
Yeah.
to doing this. And
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, anyone can get a trades job and buy a truck and a sled and experience that and take an avalanche course. And it's like, it's wild. And a lot of the
Yeah.
people who do it are older, obviously, because, the younger kids, don't want to set aside the money that, you wanted to live the ski bum lifestyle. I get it. But the little bit of hard work, once you're like 25 and you're like, fuck it, I'm going to get a job and save up some cash, and you go out there and you
Yeah.
can experience that, it is well worth the savings.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. But
What's
yeah, I
the,
think more and more people are, like you said earlier, like Red and more like younger guys, they're still like going up there because contests are, they are what they are, and it's always going to be that way. So I feel like more and more people are trying to go out there and try and film way more sleds. But like you said, it's just, yeah, it's expensive. It's an expensive
yeah,
toy, and you got to invest in yourself. And yeah, I
there
did
is,
it, and then it's been standing there for 2 years.
well,
Hopefully this year.
there's no longevity in being a contest rider. Once you're done as a contest rider and the snowboard community feels that you're like this soulless person who doesn't have
Yeah,
like a passion for what snowboarding is beyond the contest world, your career is just over. And if
yeah,
you're somebody like Mickle, or I feel like, yourself and, Mark McMorris and Red, and even
yeah.
Sage, like Sage
Oh yeah,
contest career, wins the
oh yeah.
Olympics,
He has
literally
a
films,
perfect contest career
he yeah wins the Olympics and then
and
films
bails.
a party video, Lick the Cat, which is
Yeah,
basically just a year off for all those people, and then the last 3 years has been going absolutely ham.
yeah, yeah. He's been
It's
killing it. Been
yeah,
killing it.
your career will be so much longer riding POW anyway. And your contest riding is one thing, but you riding POW in Japan, like even that method and stuff is like, that's what in that the jacket that you're wearing that looks like it's from the 90s, dude. It's like, oh, can snowboard gear get baggy again? Like, and
Oh
fit
man,
like
right?
cool? Like, I'm so down. 2020, every brand should make like cinch pants at the bottom, super baggy again, and pullover jackets, and the
Yeah,
starter jackets that we all grew up with. And let's get back to it, because that purple
yeah.
jacket that you were riding this year was so minty. Your kit was on point.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I was hyped on that jacket. That one had a little extra fit. It wasn't like waterproof at all, but I wore it all. I wore it in Japan. Sometimes I got snow stuck all to it, but yeah, super fun. It's good to get some more baggy stuff because I've been wearing like double XL every year, but can't go any bigger, can't go any baggier. So I was definitely hyped on that jacket.
What what's Peace Park like? You've been to Peace Park. Um what I don't really so it's Danny Davis just puts on an event with Mountain Dew and then invites like a select group of people. You've got to go to it. Was
Yeah,
it a fun time? Was it something special? What was that like?
yeah, super fun, super fun. Super good event, super mellow vibes. Like you can, yeah, it's super chill. So you really go. Last time, I think it's like a Woodward thing now. They're trying to make it a tour and really like have something like for younger kids to like qualify for it. But at one point, I got invited to it, which I was super hyped before because I always saw the videos and all the parks they build, and it looked super fun um, to ride because they don't really build crazy parks like that in any public park at all. So got to go there, and you really just you shred all day. Private park with a bunch of the best snowboarders all over the planet, and after shredding, you all stay in this lodge. They got all like bands set up. You got Miko playing the guitar like 4 hours, like nonstop, does not leave. You got Ben like screaming in the microphone. You got people on the drums. You got everybody's just jamming and having a good time, and it's really what it looks like. How the videos look like. That's how the whole week is. It's just shredding. The last times it was um in California somewhere, Boreal Mountain, right? With
Yeah,
Copper
I think that was where it
and
was.
and Danny was like telling a bunch of people to just like get campers and RVs and just park them all right down there at the slope, and they like set it off for us. And so everybody did. Everybody just rented RVs instead of Airbnbs or like a house or anything. And we all like parked up in a square, had a mini ramp in the middle, and yeah, just the best
Who,
vibes. Really.
who's the standout there? Like when you go there, who's like your favorite dudes? Who's a few guys that are your favorite to watch ride, park, and that type of terrain?
Damn, like it's
That group is
really,
all incredible. That's the reason why I would love
yeah,
to pick it apart and be
yeah.
like, who's?
That
I know you got some favorites. Let's hear them. Throw.
um well, Mark for sure. He's unreal. I love watching Ben ride. I love watching Gabe ride. Both Ferguson brothers are unreal. Nick Baden is one of my favorites. And Renee is always full of energy, so always fun to watch. And yeah,
I like
that's pretty much it. But
my
all those guys, like Brock too, Red, they're all unreal at snowboarding. Everybody's so good. So, and they're all super chill.
I mean, my favorite out of there, just personally, has been as of late has been Ben Ferg.
Mm.
I mean, obviously his bro too, but I love the Ben snowboards like a. I don't know how to like break it down, like Kale Stevens, but like contest talent. He's just like a tank that is so he's just shredding. He's like
Oh yeah.
full balls to the walls, but so calculated. Like
Oh yeah.
I've only ridden with him a handful
Charging.
of times and stuff like that, but charging with so much talent and like
Yeah.
I just love like the method that he filmed and the way I just a big fan.
Yeah.
Big
Oh
fan
yeah.
of the first. I mean his brothers in it sucks because I feel like sometimes maybe his shadow gets overlooked and he's just as talented in his own right and his style in the half
Yeah.
pipe is beyond me, but yeah, the Fergs, everybody you listed there, incredible style.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like the whole Peace Park, it's just really all the best snowboarders that I've looked up to and still look up to, and they're all, yeah, everybody's just hanging, having a good time at the end of the season. That's all you really need.
Yeah, and I mean, then everyone starts getting hammered, and you're the mature one who puts everybody to bed and sees what the chaos looks like when you're sober.
Uh, I feel like I'm more that devil that pours another one for you.
Oh, I like it. I like it. You're just fueling the fire. Just like, yeah, have another one there, Mickle. Play another tune. Oh, dude. So what do you have planned coming up for the rest of the season? I mean, COVID's still happening. What's the beginning of the season look like for you? Do you have a video project?
Well, as of now, I'm still doing a little rehab on my knee. Right before the season kicked off here, like early season glacier riding here in Europe, I was supposed to go to the Hintertux opening where Warney Stock lives.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, super fun. I think he had like a invitational event. Everybody come out, stay at his family's hotel, and then ride for the week.
Family's hotel, dude, get us in there.
Yeah, his whole family. Well, he's from that valley, and yeah, his whole family works there, and they have this crazy hotel, which is super fun to stay at. Highly recommend.
I'll hit him up.
But yeah, right before, like a week before, I was like sitting at home, and my knee was like swollen for 2 weeks, and I was like, damn, like I'm going snowboarding. Okay, I'm gonna get it checked out, and then it turned out to be a little tear in my meniscus, and then I was like, well, might as well do the surgery right now because it wasn't anything crazy. They just cut the little piece away, and it's like a 6 to 8 week rehab. I think I'm on 8 weeks now, but I'm doing like another 2 weeks to be sure.
Yeah, don't rush it. There's no point this year at all.
No, not at all. And I think Stubai is open now in Europe, but it's not the best time anyway. So I'm taking another 2 weeks of rehab for sure, hitting the gym every day, which is something new for me. But then gonna try and go to Locks and meet up with Kevin and Tor actually.
Oh wow, that's gonna be.
Yeah.
Are you guys gonna make another project, or are you just gonna film together and see what happens?
Yeah, something like that. Probably.
You guys should make another movie. I mean,
I think that's the plan. Yeah, I think that's the plan. We'll just go and film every time between, and we were first planning to try and go to Whistler for like 3 or 2 months.
Oh, those dudes should come here. They would mess it up.
Yeah, but as of now, it's not really possible to go to Canada yet. So hopefully, like later in, like maybe in January or something, borders and.
I disagree. I feel like it's
But maybe
essential
not.
travel. It's essential travel.
Essential travel.
People need to see you guys snowboard. It's essential to the well-being of all. I mean, if people can't see that type of snowboarding, I don't know what's going to fuel people through this difficult time.
But yeah, I would love to come out there, but it's really, yeah, it's super unknown with the whole corona and all the restrictions and stuff. So take it day by day, doing another 2 weeks a rehab, and then I'll take my car straight to Locks, and then yeah, take it from there. Probably pretty chill before the holidays, and then make a plan.
Yeah, same likewise. Dude, I got a few questions I want to ask you. One in particular, do you still have a vehicle sponsor? Because you've
I
ridden
do.
for you do, you son of
I do.
a who you because you used to ride for Jeep and now you ride for Toyota. What's the deal?
Used to be Mini Cooper first.
Oh my god, you son dude, Belgium, I gotta move there. French fries,
Actually,
chocolate, beer. Oh,
big shout out to my mom for that one. This is actually a crazy story because when I was 18, I was just getting out of school and I was in New Zealand with the rest of the Belgium team. And by the time I got home, I had a Mini Cooper at home. And my mom was at this party that knew a friend that knew a guy that was with Mini, and they were all like talking and stuff. And the guy was super down to, yeah, give me a little Mini to cruise around with. So always been very lucky with that because that helped me a lot to really just have my car and live out of my car and move to the mountains. But as of now, it's been Toyota for the last 3 years.
what do you ride? What's the whip? I just bought myself a Toyota Tacoma.
Oh, I wish
I
I had a
did.
whip like that, but that one doesn't go. It's too big to drive in Belgium with, man.
What do you mean
I
it's
have
too big? It's the smallest truck in the world.
well, it's still a truck.
What
I
kind of
ride.
vehicles do you guys have in Belgium? Like Priuses and shit and smart cars?
Um, I actually drive a hybrid. It's the CHR hybrid car. It's a little just a regular tiny car,
And no
really.
payments. Just no, you don't got to
Uh,
pay.
no payments.
My
Just the,
man, that's sick.
just the gas.
Oh, dude, that's sick because I definitely have payments now. And I feel like because it's a pandemic, I'm asking myself, Jody, are you stupid? But my old Nissan Titan broke down, which definitely wouldn't fit in Belgium because that truck is
Uh,
huge.
yeah,
And then I was like, okay, I want to get a more like I want to get the best truck possible that has some sort of resale value. Did my research and that was the Toyota Tacoma and I bought it. And
okay.
when you come here, how do you pick up your sled? And do you come here and does Toyota write Toyota Canada an email and then you get to take one here or what?
No, no, I wish it was like that. It's local Toyota, so it's just in Belgium, or Europe because I drive anywhere. Um, but I'm still actually looking. Last couple of years, we rented a truck, and Ika had his truck and pulled a trailer that Tyler was so nice to lend to us. So he
Ty,
had a trailer, Tyler Nicholson.
oh, sick. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I actually bought my sled from him because he got injured that year. Um, yeah, 2018, and we
Another
just had a new truck. Yeah.
jumper with that spins with nose. His cab 14 that he did at the
Oh yeah,
Olympics nose grab was fucked up.
yeah, he pulls on it real good too. But as of now, I don't really have a truck set up yet. So I was thinking about if there's a chance for me and Kevin and Tor to come out there, we might drop in on a truck
Dude, Devin's got a
all
house in
together.
Whistler. He might not be the DC team captain anymore, which he should be, but I don't know what's happening there. Does Devin still ride for DC? Do you know?
Ah, I actually do not know.
I hope that they, for the sake of like Vans has like their legends on their team. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They keep like the
I,
entire
I would I would
fleet.
think.
They DC
Yeah,
should keep Devin on like that forever, just to like always have that credibility.
yeah,
As I
yeah,
feel like Devin's career might be the most overlooked career in snowboarding, as far as like now that I'm like an ultra snowboard nerd, like Devin's been filming video parts longer than anybody in snowboarding. I would say Devin's had the biggest career. And I
yeah.
mean, like, and kind of overlooked. The dude's so sick. You watch his old video parts and you're like, what? Like, switch methods. Like the dude's always been at the
Yeah.
forefront of like trick style,
Oh, yeah.
never hucking. What a
Hmm.
G.
Yeah, what a G.
I mean, I'm Canadian.
I would guess he's still on DC. I'm sure he still gets product.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I have no clue if he's like I said before, I haven't seen him in a while.
yeah, I mean, I guess you don't have all the answers, and that's just
Yeah.
fine. But if Ika listens to this, keep Devin on DC.
Yeah.
Woo. Okay, so at the end of every show, I got 4 questions for the guest. Um, we'll roll into that. What's your favorite Hollywood movie?
Favorite Hollywood movie. I mean, it changes a bunch of times, but the ones I usually say is like Lucky Number 11.
Ooh, good pick.
Yeah, I don't. That one always kind of stuck in my head when people ask me my favorite movie. I always say that one. I don't know if it's actually my favorite movie, but yeah, it's a really good movie. So
I watched The Notebook last night. I'm not afraid to say it. We didn't even finish it, but it just started getting good. But we had a guest that was staying on my couch who's like, "I want to go to bed," and I was like, "You're in my house, motherfucker." But yeah, so I'm gonna finish it tonight. It seems. I mean, have you seen The Notebook?
I have not seen The Notebook yet.
Hey, it seems good, dude. It seems good. He builds her
I
the
mean,
house.
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it is.
My girlfriend wanted to watch it, so I'm halfway through it. I'll let you know how
Yeah,
that
I'm
one
sure.
pans out.
I'm sure at some point I'll have to go through that one.
All right. Number 2, what's your favorite snowboard movie?
Um, Damn, that one's hard too. Because lately all the movies they're pretty good. Watch them all, but I like to say Draw the Line was one of movies that I watched a lot
John
growing up.
Jay, E-Jack. Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot of
and
people. Mark
that was
Land.
like that was what I don't know if it's really true, but I remember it being like the first time it really like had the helicopter shooting and had that crazy like it was just like different filming and it always stuck and I used to watch it on the way to the indoor slope
That was
a
the
lot.
year that helicopter snowboarding and filming. I mean, Absinthe did it before a bit, obviously, and a few old Burton commercials with like
Yeah.
Roman DeMarchi and stuff like that. But that year in particular, the helicopter filming blew up because that Renzi had a bunch of jump and Arrow and Ika who were I think were filming for Whiteout that year, the first year, and they had a bunch of helicopter shots, and then John Jay and stuff like that. Those helicopter shots.
Yeah.
Pat Moore actually shared one the other day of the John Jay front set goes melon
Yeah,
with the
yeah, he
sick.
actually did. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that jump, that massive booter, that just looked crazy to me, and that always stuck by. Um, but I don't know if it's. I actually haven't watched it in a long time now. But the Vans movie is really good too, and um, I don't
Yeah,
know. I like to switch it up.
really
I don't really have
really
one favorite.
excited for the new Vans movie that
Yes.
I believe Tanner's editing the whole thing, and maybe Harry
Yeah.
Hagen and Jake Price and whoever else films there. But yeah, with Arthur and that whole
Mm.
lineup, like they have the sickest team. I mean, I'm just grateful to be
You got
in an
some shots in there?
association. No, I didn't film for. I know maybe I have one. Me and Kuzik went out one day, and I actually went and rode a handrail, and I
All
don't know.
right.
So I have maybe one clip, but I would have liked to film some jumping for it. But the
Yeah.
opportunity, like you said, March 12th was your last day,
Yeah.
and so was mine. And I was really hoping to get out there and build like a jump with
Yeah.
Kuzik and stuff like that, and
Yeah. Yeah.
get some shots. But it never came to fruition. But hopefully next year I'll get a clip in one of their movies. We'll see, dude. You know,
Yeah.
you gotta have goals. All right, your favorite album of all time?
Music album. Mm, Dude, these are all like these are all things I don't really think about because I have so many favorite and I always switch. I never really stick to one. Um, Favorite album. Actually, Drake Views. I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna say it. Cause when this album dropped, like we were listening to this 24/7. Never really listened to any of his albums after that, but that album, I don't know. Me and Mark went to like a crazy party in Vancouver once where it was like a Drake appreciation night and it was only Drake feature songs. And I don't know, we had the craziest time. We were super into that album at that point, and my friends back home too. So that one, yeah, we listened to a lot. But as of now, I don't really listen to it anymore. I don't know. It's past. It comes and goes. It comes and goes.
How was that night? What happened that night? Was it sick?
Um,
It sounds fun. It sounds super fun.
yeah, it's always fun. It's always fun to go out. Yeah, it was crazy. I don't know. We were hopping bars from one to another, and eventually, yeah, Drake appreciation night, and they were all like wobbly Drake heads in the crowd, and
Was
um,
Drake there? Did you get to hang out with Drake?
no, 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 no,
I
no. It
feel
wasn't.
like,
It wasn't like a super exclusive, like crazy. No,
oh,
no,
okay.
it wasn't like that. It was just regular party appreciating Drake, I guess.
I
But
feel like
yeah, we had a
McMorris
great night.
is on that tip. You know, he's almost to the
Yeah,
million followers. Him and his girlfriend obviously racing to that 1 million. And then once he, dude, you know that he's gonna be at those parties soon. Now, Sean White's always at them. You know, he's like those French Montana music videos. It's just like Sean White hanging out with Drake and LeBron James. You're like,
yeah.
what the hell is going on here, or whoever else.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Number four, one piece of life advice.
Um, one piece of life advice: just try and not take things too seriously. Just go with the flow. Go with what feels good. Be happy. Take care of others. Yeah,
That's amazing. That's
true
exactly what the
love.
world needs to hear right now in these uncertain times where there's
Yeah,
more people than we would like to admit that are in their head with stuff. And if people could just realize that a lot of stuff is out of their hands and to do exactly what you said there, take one step at a time, it'll be, and be nice. You said be nice to other people or whatever. That's a big thing too. Cause I feel like in these times, lots of people maybe don't have the same opinion as somebody else. You know, somebody's on
yeah,
that side, someone's on that side, but to hear people out and not just, already have like your mind made up. I think
yeah.
it's a good time right now to listen and to put yourself in other people's shoes
Oh
and
yeah,
seek first then to be under or seek first to understand and then to be understood. Yeah, seek
yeah, yeah,
first to
yeah,
understand
yeah.
and to be understood. Yeah.
Picking up what you're saying now.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's true. It's a crazy time for everybody. You just gotta, I don't know, keep doing your thing. Try not to get too bothered by all these things that are happening, and just try to keep doing your stuff. What makes
yeah.
you happy? Be with
So
your friends. Shred. You got to get through it.
yeah, and the biggest thing ever is just strap into a snowboard. Honestly, like I don't who cares how you have to be able to if you live somewhere and you can't live there anymore, like I mean, hopefully you live somewhere where you're allowed to snowboard. If you can't, you always have the two, you know, the brother and sister. You can go snowboard or you can go
Yeah,
skateboarding, you can go surfing. Or I
yeah,
don't really care. Start a band or start painting. But if you can go shred, dude, I feel like that's gonna help a lot of people's mental game just coming into the winter right now, people going out there and you know splitting, sledding, snowboarding, and just being
yeah,
out in snowboarding with your friends is like you just kind of forget about all the shit when you're out there and you're like your homie who you haven't ridden with in a long time does a
yeah,
front five India and you haven't seen him do that in years and you're like that and then you know you don't really care about the pandemic at that moment, which I feel
yeah,
like we're all thinking about a little bit too much at this point.
yeah. It's true. Once you're out there with snowboarding, it's a nice little getaway from everything.
Exactly.
it's
It's an escape.
yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely an escape to get a little breather. You know, try not to stress about everything too much and just try to have fun. Snowboarding is a good tool for that.
On that note, I couldn't agree anymore. Thank you so much for coming on, dude.
Thank you for
Huge,
having me, man.
huge fan.
Thank you.
Definitely one of the I'm stealing the way you jump and I'm trying to do that. Even at this phase, you know what I mean? I love just be like watching people's style and trying to steal a piece of that. I've been stealing pieces of people's style since day one, and there's a small sliver in there for you now.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, dude. Big fan. Take care of yourself, and
You
thanks
too.
again.
Hell yeah, man. See you soon.